Right.
Okay, so welcome to the 14th episode of the Scientist Podcast. I'm joined with Dr. Mrityunjay Sharma, and today we have a guest, Dr. GAURAV MAJUMDAR. And I'm very excited because he's also my friend, and he's an assistant professor in the Department of Zoology at University of Allahabad, Prayagraj. Uh, he specializes in chronobiology, the study of biological rhythm and the internal clocks that allow organisms to anticipate and adapt to changes in the environment. And he completed his PhD in chronobiology at University of Delhi and mostly focused on avian chronobiology and seasonality. And that's one of the fascinating aspects of his research, that how animals know what season it is, because for many animals, the daylight and the temperature changes. Also, the food availability is important to understand all the changes in the seasons so that they can determine their reproductive or overall body health. Then he moved to South Africa to work on bacteria. He will tell us about something about that. Then he became a prestigious Belspor Fellow in Belgium, where he worked. Uh, and then after that, he moved to Glasgow. And his research on Japanese quail was also interesting, especially related to follicular stimulating hormone that he will tell about something. And after that, he was appointed as an assistant professor in University of Allahabad, and there he has already written a book with Dr. Rizvi, Circadian Clocks and Aging, and it is available online in Springer. We'll post a link down there. So this is very interesting because we are trying to cover the biology, neuroscience, behavior, and also our environment. So first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to it. I know it's a Sunday evening, it's a family time, but and please tell me about your research journey from your childhood to right now. Thank you so much.
Right. So thank you, Abhilash and Mrityunjay, for inviting me in this very interesting channel. So should I tell about me first, actually? So right.
Absolutely.
So I did my master's and I cleared my CSR fellowship in 2007, and I went to do my PhD in CDRI in Lucknow, actually. So the first thing I got into science was on Mycobacterium tuberculosis genomics, and there we were developing developing a method where we can do a non-targeted or targeted mutation in any part of the bacteria of Mycobacterium. For there I worked for like 1.5 years, but then there was something missing in the science, that it is a very good science doing bacterial genomics and trying to develop a drug against Mycobacterium. But personally, I somehow like to work on experimentation, so that I want a experiment, I want to develop an hypothesis, and then I wanted to develop then how to defend that hypothesis or something like that. So they were professor my PhD guide, Professor Vinod Kumar, was working in Lucknow University. So I contacted him because his work was on circadian biology, and I read one of few of his paper where he was mentioning seasonal biology, so which got me very interested, actually. So I went to him and I said that I have another CSR fellowship which I cleared. So I had another fellowship and I would like to join you for my PhD. So he said that, but I'm moving to Delhi. So will you like to come with me and migrate to Delhi, just like my migratory birds? So they were working on migratory birds, actually. So this was exciting for me. So he said that there's no lab and you have to set up a whole lab there and maybe you will learn something. So I thought that, okay, it's fine. I will start from scratch. And I went to Delhi, and me and my PhD boss were the only two people in the whole white city of Delhi. And we never knew anyone, and no one knew us. So we lived together actually in hostels. We cooked together, and the relation was very, good. And then we started developing our lab, and I think we made a good lab. Abhilash joined later, and he must be remembering the lab which we made, me and my boss. So it was a good time, actually. So I did my PhD in 2014. Even before finishing my PhD, I got a postdoc chance in University of Cape Town in South Africa. So my senior from CDRI, who taught me everything, Dr. Vinayak Singh, he was an excellent scientist, actually. So he invited me to work under him in Cape Town because of the same project of developing a method of introducing mutations in the mycobacterium. So I went there and I worked for like 1.5 years there, also in South Africa. In between, came back to India and defended my PhD. It was also actually a very nice city, very beautiful. Cape Town is amazing, actually. So we worked on a very good project. I wrote a very good protocol. I developed a new protocol. I wrote about it. And meanwhile, in South Africa, so I was developing my own hypothesis because my PhD was in birds, in seasonality. And the idea of working on seasonality didn't leave my mind actually. So I was looking for an option, and so I wrote a project myself, and I submitted it to government of Belgium and in Belspo, and they accepted it. So me and Anime, who was my boss, who was hosting me in Belgium. So it was my own project, but it was hosted by Anime, who from Bioimaging Lab. It's I think one of the greatest lab in the whole wide world in terms of the methods they use. And I moved to Belgium actually with my wife, who was also a postdoc in University of Antwerp. So we both worked for there for like 5 years in Belgium. And in between, I wrote another very prestigious project for the government of Belgium, which is called FWO, which I got. And for 5 years working in Belgium, then I thought that my son was born actually. So now there's a problem in Europe that they usually teach in their own language. So, and I
Hmm.
wanted my son to learn English.
Mhm.
So, which I thought it was a good idea because we didn't know Dutch. We tried, but it was a tough language.
It's a global language, English. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in Belgium it was Dutch. It's
Yeah.
primarily Dutch, and we
Uh-huh.
were not very good in it. We tried
Uh-huh.
to learn Dutch, but we were
Uh-huh.
not very good in it. So we
Uh-huh.
thought that my son will have a problem of language because in Belgium I
Yeah.
was working on language actually, language development.
Oh.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so I will tell you maybe more because we worked a
Yeah.
lot on developmental biology of language actually, where we use birds.
Mhm.
So we three, my son, me, and my wife, we moved to Glasgow then.
Mhm.
Glasgow, Dr. Tyler Stevenson was one of our collaborators from my PhD time, and he's an excellent scientist actually. So
Mhm.
he asked me to come to Glasgow, and I joined in University of Glasgow, worked for like 1.5 years.
Mhm.
And in between, India called, and the idea of coming back to India is too good to
Yeah.
you resist. So
Yes.
the samosas call you all the time when you are in Europe. You were in Europe and you were in USA. Samosas call you all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it
I think
wasn't.
Professor Vinod Rai's lab love for samosa is known now.
Not Kumar.
So we just flew. We just flew that we need to go to India and just make our life there.
Hmm.
Uh, and then I joined it. So now when I'm here for like 4 years now in Allahabad
Hmm.
University, I already have three good projects
Hmm.
working under me, and I have
Hmm.
good lab. I have
Hmm.
few good students,
Hmm.
all girls somehow.
Hmm.
Somehow boys don't want to join my lab.
Hmm.
So I have four girls working under me. They're
Hmm.
very hardworking. India is famous for hardworking people.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and now we are doing good. So some of
Yeah.
the projects are one of the projects in human, one and two mainly on seasonal animals, hamster. Three
So,
projects we are running.
Gaurav, before we get into like, your present projects, what I would
Yeah.
like maybe to know a little about is your experience with, so I was really fascinated by this like mutations in mycobacterium. Like how can you
Yeah.
introduce like, mutations? That's my first question. And how is it helpful? Like how does it help in any ways?
Okay, right. So you can know a gene's function just by changing it. You can only know a value of a person when the person is not there. That
Hmm.
is how a mutation works. So if you want to know the function and working of a gene, the
Hmm.
best thing is to knock out or knock off the gene out. Actually. So then
Hmm.
you know the function of the gene. So now, if you want to know the mechanism of a drug, how the
Hmm.
drug is acting on on a bacteria or an animal, you
Hmm.
need to understand how that where the drug attaches itself or not.
Hmm.
Also somehow there are different genes or different proteins which can have direct effect on physiology. So I will
Hmm.
come to that physiological part later, but first I would like to say that there are some more genes which do detoxification for you in your
Hmm.
body.
Hmm.
So maybe the bacteria is detoxifying a drug. It
Hmm.
can happen that it is attaching to a drug and detoxifying it. So if we can knock out the drug, then the drug knock out the gene, then the drug will act on the bacteria.
Hmm.
So that is one. And also you can have the target of the drug which the bacteria is having, so that we can make more targets like that. We can target more genes like that. We can develop antagonist or agonist against those targets. So to know the function of the gene, mutation has to be introduced. So
Hmm.
mycobacterium is a special kind of bacteria because it is some people say that it's made directly by God actually because You cannot kill it. Even mycobacterium comes, even live mycobacterium, people have said that they have found from mummies actually. So it's amazing bacteria which has a thick layer of fat around it, and you
Hmm.
cannot kill it. As simple as that. It will live in your
So
body for
any living being which has a thick layer of fat around it, you can't kill it.
microbacterium is special for that because it has only an so we eat, microbacterium doesn't even eat for some lot of time. So the thick layer of fat, I'm
Hmm.
just telling it fat in a layman language.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very complicated, but
yeah.
the fat is very helpful for it, and it can
Hmm.
just stay out of your reach for a long time in the lungs, deep secrets of the lungs.
Oh wow.
So, so that's why the mutation is also helpful. That we were also looking for some surface antigens or surface, things, surface proteins which get the food inside the bacteria. So we are
Hmm.
also looking for those things also. So the best strategy to look for a massive amount of genes which will be helpful to screen out whatever you want is to
Hmm.
make a mutation on the bacteria. So
Hmm.
we were trying to develop a whole genome-wide mutation strategy. That
Hmm.
means all the mutation can be anywhere, any gene can be affected, and then we can select it out. So if I want the bacteria to grow in some special kind of media, only that mutated bacteria can grow there like this. So if I
Interesting.
want to grow the bacteria in suppose in a high concentration of drug X,
Hmm.
and no other bacteria grows, only one mutant bacteria grows, then I know that that mutant for the gene
Hmm.
is responsible for the drug X interaction actually. So
Oh,
it's taking the drug as
hmm.
source, and it can
Interesting.
live in it. Other all the others are dying.
Uh, Interesting. And how did you like how did this shift from microbacterium to migratory birds, right? How did
Okay,
that happen? And like because I it seems like they are like two completely different things that you were doing,
right.
right? Oh,
Yeah,
how was it, and like what was it? How what made you interested in the migratory birds, and how did you actually also sustain? Because I'm assuming you worked on them for a long period
yeah,
of time,
yeah,
right? And since you were saying that, at CDRI you didn't like what you were doing, right? So you moved. So I'm assuming since you stayed with the migratory birds for some time, it means that you actually liked it, right? So
right.
please tell us a little about that. Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that microbiology, which I was doing in CDRI, is a very unique kind of molecular biology stream of biology. So
Hmm.
the real molecular biology you can learn when you do some a bit of microbiology. You have to make mutants. You have to make clones. You have to modify the genomes. You can make uh, some delivery agents. So you learn a lot of molecular biology when you do microbiology.
Hmm.
So, but the thing is, when in CDRI, what I was doing is I was trying to develop drugs against mycobacteria.
Hmm.
So you learn a lot of things like cell culture and cell culture and molecular biology a lot. But somehow I felt that I lack uh, a very crucial concept in science, which is asking a question. So I
Hmm.
was I was trying to develop drugs and all, but the question was not there, which
Hmm.
I personally like. So there are different kinds of researchers, as you know. Some
Hmm.
like basic biology, some like conceptual biology, some people like instrumentation biology. So
Hmm.
I like experimental biology personally. I want to do experiments. So
Hmm.
when I read one of the papers of Professor Vinod Kumar, he was working on seasonality. So the first
Hmm.
question came in my mind is that why we need seasonality. It was a very conceptual question for me. That how come seasonality is important? We live in such a world where we can make everything constant. Even
Hmm.
then, seasonality is such an interesting concept that it can change the whole physiology of an animal.
Hmm.
So the question of why the evolutionary perspective of physiology or seasonality was what drew me in actually.
Hmm.
And so I thought of contacting him that I want to work on. He gave me a choice that if you want to work on circadian biology, which is a concept of time, which
Hmm.
Abhilash has worked, which is concept of daily time. And he
Hmm.
asked me to work if you I wanted to work on seasonality. And I said that I will work on seasonality because
Hmm.
the concepts are different. But now the things he wanted me to use in my research was very similar to the one in bacteria. I
Hmm.
used molecular biology. That
Hmm.
too, in neurobiology, it was more complex,
Hmm.
more fascinating, and asked a completely different question.
Hmm.
But personally, I think the question is important, not the model
Yeah.
or the techniques you use. The question is one of the most fascinating things, actually.
And what was the question that you were trying to answer?
So the first question which came into my mind is that like we know that in biology, usually in science, there are three layers of questions like what, how, and why. So
Mhm.
they have different layers of complexity. So I started with how, and I wanted to ask why. So
Mhm.
the first question was that how the migratory birds
Mhm.
adapt themselves to different conditions. One is like cold Europe, and one is hot India.
Mhm.
So they are adapting to, it's like in whole different animal actually. It
Mhm.
changes from one animal to different animal, same animal, two animals in two different places.
Yeah.
So how was the first question which came into my mind?
Mhm.
And that's why we did a series of experiment where we, simulated the conditions of migratory birds in our labs. And then
Mhm.
then I took out their brains and retina. I have a paper on retina from migratory birds
Oh,
to test how these things are, sensing the environment of Europe and India.
oh, oh,
So
interesting.
that was the first question, and from still then I'm asking why they want to migrate. This question is very tough question. It answers the evolutionary point of
Maybe
view.
just for a holiday, you know?
Yes, but would you like to go on holiday without money? Something
Maybe
like
the
that,
concept
leaving
of money
everything
doesn't
and going.
exist for them, right?
But that means, but at least the question of hardship comes.
Yeah, yeah,
Without
yeah,
money is
absolutely.
hardship. So they
Absolutely.
they do a lot of hardship to come from there to them.
Hmm.
What is the need of doing that? So
Hmm.
how it got wired in the system? It's a very interesting question to ask.
Yeah, yeah,
That
absolutely. Hmm. Go ahead, go ahead.
One thing I want to know that, okay, so there's migratory birds. And then when you also did work on Japanese quail, they are also
Hmm.
right,
seasonal. They are also seasonal. And also hamster, they are known to be
Hmm.
very seasonal. So there are two different species of birds plus a mammal,
Hmm.
and all three showing some sort of seasonality, and one with migrating, other two without migrating. Uh, so how someone who works on seasonality chooses a system of seasonality? Like, okay, this is the animal I'm going to work with, and that's going to answer a specific type of question.
Hmm.
So is this what we are interested in that animal, or is the question of a seasonality? Okay, no, for seasonality, Japanese quail is the best, or hamster is the best, because I don't think we can answer many humans' question from the seasonal mammals, or can we? You know,
Hmm.
like how do we
okay.
choose?
So
Also, just to
yeah,
add to Abhilash's question, like what is the difference between working with working with these different types of models? Like how do you handle these different types of models?
right. These are tough questions actually, but I would like to say that first of all, the question is important, and the model which you choose depends on the question you ask. So every
Hmm.
of us are different, and we present a different kind of physiology with us.
Hmm.
So after the migratory birds, I went to Europe and Belgium, and there we worked on two very interesting birds. One was starlings,
Hmm.
European starlings, and one was zebra finch. They're completely two different kind of birds, but we combined them and we worked on MRI actually. So we developed a whole method of studying those birds' brain by MRI. So we had a very nice machine, a small machine when we put the birds, and we used to do MRI. And from there, but it was also on seasonality. The base was seasonality, but the questions asked were different. And then I moved it, to quails, and
Hmm.
now I'm working on hamsters. So the question is very important, and I think all those models which I worked on are linked somehow. And
Hmm.
that was asking what seasonality inside us,
Hmm.
or it is outside us.
Hmm.
So the adaptation, the evolution, how it happened, the same question is being asked in every step.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is a link of all the models.
Yeah.
And uh, the working techniques or the things we use to address our questions are more or less similar in everyone.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not very different. The genes, the proteins, tissues, they are not very different. But the
Hmm.
question asked is different in every one of them. But the underlying question is that what is the seasonality inside us or not? So all
Hmm.
this stems for a straight fact that seasonality, which we see in humans, are also seasonal. I would like to tell you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So is it in our genes, or it is the environment which is forcing us to be seasonal? So
Oh.
that is a very that is a unique question which I am always asking actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
And in in the quails, the Japanese quails which we work, the paper I published in eLife, it shows that there's an internal molecule. Even if you don't give seasons to the birds, the internal things are changing. And there's a molecule called FSH beta or FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone. It's getting induced even when there is no GnRH. So GnRH means when the photo period comes, when the season changes, there are different kinds of mechanism happening in the brain, and it induces your whole physiology. Okay. So there's a pathway which people haven't explained. But even if we don't give that change of seasons, somehow the animals still respond.
Oh,
It's like suppose you grow nice hairs in June, July, suppose, and so you think that, oh, summer is coming, the spring has come, and so I have nice hairs and I have nice skin. But even if I keep you in constant condition, or even I keep you for a long time in winter, even then when July comes, you don't notice July,
oh,
but the time of July has come.
hmm,
Even then you will start respond. Your body will respond. That
hmm.
means there's a different kind of clock, a different kind of clock operating in your body, which is complete in a different level, which is called
I
circadian clock actually.
I'm sorry, I have a question around, and it's a very like left field question. Maybe it is not, right? But since you are saying that seasonality is something that can be external as well as internal, right? I want to understand, right? Because there is a lot of global warming happening, right?
Yeah,
Because the seasons are becoming completely different, right?
yeah.
How, like, are these things also impacting? Because what I'm assuming is that there is one season, right? So I'm just giving like a hypothetical, right? So there is one season. In this season, what, let's say, one animal is doing is moving from one place to place A to place B for food, right? Now, let's say global warming is happening, but this place B, because of global warming, doesn't have any food, right? So what is going to happen? Because it is internal, they don't care what is happening, right? So they will move from place A to place B, and they will, look for food, but they will not find any. Like, are these kind of things also happening, or is it just complete hypothetical?
No, it's exactly, these are happening actually. So
Oh,
global warming is changing the migratory patterns of the birds altogether, because
God.
now the animals are confused.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the global warming is changing the whole scenario, because the first thing we have to understand is that seasonality, all these things, the
Yeah.
underlying principle is adaptation.
Yeah.
So it's for adaptation, which actually is evolution. If you don't adapt, you don't evolve, or you evolve for adaptation, something like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So adaptation is the working word here, and
Hmm.
the global warming is changing these adaptation patterns actually.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it is completely true. You're on the point that global warming is changing the structure of the whole world in terms of biology or in terms of animals.
Yeah.
So I have a personal hypothesis, which I don't know whether it's very true or not, but
Hmm.
there are two kinds of clocks which we work usually. So one is circadian clock, generally, which is the clock of our individual body, which tells the time of the day,
Hmm. Hmm.
and there's a seasonal clock which tells the time of the year.
Oh. Hmm.
So my question is that which clock do you think is more important?
Oh. Hmm.
So see, it's a good question. That
Is
is
it
the
the is
daily
it the
clock important?
revolution of the earth that is
Earth
important,
is
or
important,
is
or
it
the
is it the
rotation of the Earth?
revolving
See,
around the sun is important?
so these are the basic questions I want to ask. And for in
Yeah.
my personal point of view, the revolution of this Earth is more important. Why?
Yeah.
Not the
Hmm.
rotation of Earth. Why?
Hmm.
Because if your circadian clock goes bad,
Hmm.
it's affecting you. It's
Hmm.
affecting you. It's affecting two more people.
Hmm.
But the seasonality can shape the whole population. If my kid is not born, if I'm a bird and my kid is not born in time,
Hmm.
when there will be food outside, suppose it's supposed to born in spring and outside there is food, because spring or in after monsoon there are a lot of insects. So the
Yeah.
animals time their whole things, like I will make the nest in spring, my kid will be born, and my kid will come out of the eggs in such a time when there is a lot of insect and it will eat. Suppose it
My
gets born in the winters
God.
and it comes out and if there is no food, the kid will die, isn't it? So the survival of the whole species depend on seasonality. The
Yeah.
circadian clock controls you as a person, as an animal, but the seasonality controls the whole
What?
population of the animals. So I think it evolved before evolution of the circadian clock.
I have one more question around this. Sorry, I'm just like, dragging this too much. But are there any examples of birds or any species that have either gone extinct or are endangered due to seasonality or the change in seasons or like what we are discussing right now?
For extinction, I really don't know about birds,
Mhm.
because birds are, they can modify their whole system. But I perfectly know that they have changed a lot of tracks. So a
Mm.
lot of birds which were coming, supposed to the South African continent in South Africa, now moves more towards the north.
Oh,
So this is a big example that they are changing their routes. This
oh,
is known. This is
yeah,
known completely. For extinction, we cannot only blame them
yeah,
on global warming.
absolutely,
We have to
absolutely.
blame them on a lot of things like light at night. A
Hmm.
lot of bird species are getting lost because there's a huge the migrate Dubai comes in the way of their migratory way, and Dubai is completely illuminated at night. So they
Oh,
lose their paths, and a lot of animals die. So
wait,
extinction has
sorry,
a
you were
lot of
saying
different
that
reasons.
there is a bird coming from place A to place B and they see a lot of light and then they lose
And
their
they
path and then
they
they.
did the spark. Yes, completely, and they get
Wow,
lost.
Yeah, so
guys.
I think Dr. Ellen Ketterson, she is in Indiana
Yeah,
University,
Hmm.
and Dr. Devraj Singh was postdoc there,
used to
and
work there.
yeah, now he's assistant professor here. So he has shown, and her lab has also shown that uh, when they migrate and they see big cities, they lose they use stars for the path
Uh,
where
uh-huh.
to go,
They can
and
see
they
the
can't.
stars.
Yes, they can't see the stars, and they can't differentiate between big city lights and stars. So so they don't know where to go. So
Oh
so
Correct.
my God, that's so
and
sad, guys.
it's reality. I don't think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even
So
even the turtles, not only birds, even the turtles which hatch in the beaches, and they suddenly want to go to the sea, because if you go to sea, you will see the sea is more bright.
Hmm.
The sea or the oceans are more brighter, isn't it? Because
Hmm.
the waves are there bright. So when the turtles come out of their eggs, when they are laid in the beaches, they
Hmm.
usually go to a brighter place, which is the ocean or the sea in front of them. But
Hmm.
now the cities are more bright. They just move in the city and they die.
Oh my God.
So lot of in Germany, there's a huge movement where when the hatching season comes of turtles, the
Hmm.
whole cities goes light is off.
Oh,
The
wow.
government makes it mandatory that the city lights are to be
Yeah.
switched off, because
Switch off.
so that the turtles can go to the sea and not to the city.
Oh my God. This
So
is, yeah, crazy,
uh,
crazy
I,
stuff.
yeah, I think this is all fascinating, obviously, and we can talk about this for hours and hours. One of the last thing that I wanted to ask, because you are also a teacher now, so how do you wanna like motivate people or students that uh, because many of the research around the world is focused on medical research, so that
Hmm.
human health and human life will be better. And you have experience of working from the microorganism to, and now you will be working on humans also. I'm 100% sure. So how do you motivate them that studying different models is also important, and it's not like you are also, if you're working only on humans, then you are helping humans in understanding science, etc. Like how do you motivate them?
okay. So the first thing I tell my students that now I have a project on humans, and I'm working on human health and light,
Hmm.
how misusing the lifestyle is affecting human health. I have a project on that. But the motivation to the students is like, first I want to say to my students and to my class is that research is a very unique, very unique field of work.
Hmm.
So if you want to break boundaries, you have to go into research. Otherwise, every job is inside the boundaries.
Hmm.
So, for
Hmm.
in terms of models, I would like to say that one of the quote I remember from my PhD days by my own PhD guide, that he used to say that you don't need to make mutants in nature. You can find different kinds of animals in the nature, which
Hmm.
are somehow different from each other. So
Hmm.
one animal will show you one kind of physiology, one animal will show you another kind of behavior, one kind animal. So you don't need to make mutants. Go to the nature and find all the kind of animals which will
Hmm.
represent some kind of mutation or some kind of difference in their physiology. So the question is important. What question you ask? Like, we are working on hamsters. So the first question, why we are working on hamsters? Because we want to address human seasonality. Humans are seasonal,
Hmm.
but they are seasonal. This is known now. The most seasonal thing in a human, which I think is immunity. You must have all felt that you feel sick in one time of the year more. You
Hmm.
have viral infections more. You have more cold. You have more. The mental state is not good, which is mostly in this time of what time is now in India.
Hmm.
So we want to establish a model which will represent human behavior. That is
Hmm.
why we are using hamsters now. So the model is not important. The question is important, and you can search for the model which will represent your question more. So
Hmm.
hamsters are also seasonal, and we develop the hamsters so that they can represent the humans.
Hmm.
For motivating students, I want to say that research is such a field which is, more dependent on your passion.
Hmm.
So you will get your career right if you go to research. We all have done, but passion is very important in research. So if you want to do something new, something different, so
Hmm.
you have to go in research actually.
Hmm.
Otherwise, there's no way. And you can work for yourself and get paid. It's one of the best things. You
Hmm.
work on your own brain ideas and you get paid for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
And
know.
good models are everywhere. You don't have to get stuck on the basic models of rat mice. They
Hmm.
address a very good question because they are linking to humans. But
Hmm.
only linking to humans is not what we need. We
Yeah.
need good science also to satisfy our own curiosity. That is
Yeah.
one point. And we can also use the other animals for human needs, like song learning. I worked on starlings. So
Hmm.
we've used starlings for human research, and the project which I got in European countries was to use starlings for addressing Alzheimer's actually. So see,
Oh.
Alzheimer's in the humans, and I used birds to address the Alzheimer's.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they funded me. So
Interesting.
the idea is important. So if you develop your brain by reading a lot or understanding things, and
Hmm.
you come up with an idea, I think that is more important than the next step, which is working techniques or animals.
Gaurav, I have one last question. Like I work with a lot of high school students who are interested in writing research, right? So let's say a student who's high school, right, just understand high school biology, wants to do something around what you're doing, right? How should they approach this field, or like what is it that is easily available? Any open source data, anything that they can work on, like anything that you can suggest
Uh, for research, or you want to just to
for
start
for
research?
research, for research.
Okay, so there are a lot of there are a lot of open source databases which you can see a lot of molecules or genes which shows human seasonality. The first thing is that if you go and read, that is
Hmm.
the first point you have to do, and you will see that your brain functions, your physiology is also
Hmm.
seasonal. So
Hmm.
I am also my third project is also on the humans which are working is also on high school students, and I work
Hmm.
with a lot of female high school students, and we are trying to tell them that
Hmm.
your physiology is has a circadian impact and a seasonal impact.
Hmm.
So for them, I think for the young generation or for the kids, I think reading and understanding how the world works
Hmm.
and how an animal adapts to the environment is important.
Yeah.
So that can be applied into humans.
Hmm.
So if you want to start small projects,
Mm-hmm.
it's perfect. Very nice projects you can do. Like you can go and check in the population that how noise is affecting your behavior pattern.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there a like high school students, like the students can go and check the cognitive ability of their own friends over
Mm-hmm.
the season. So
Mm-hmm.
just tell them that go and check if you can add simple numbers like 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus 6
Mm-hmm.
over the months, over the days in the year, and see how much time they take to add
Wow.
these simple sums, and you will see that the cognitive ability is varying across the seasons.
Interesting. Thank you. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of things which we generally see in the society we cannot decipher that it is coming inside from our biology.
Mm-hmm. It's very
So that
interesting.
will be a nice outlet for them to start
Very.
with.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's great. So, Mrityunjay, first of all, thank you so much. I think we are near our end. So, Mrityunjay, any last things
Yeah,
say?
absolutely. I think so, Gaurav. I think very really fascinating. I think especially this idea of light and these birds and turtles. I think this was really fascinating. I never thought of this, right? And I read a lot, and I am, always trying to gain more as to what is happening in the world. But this idea, it's really unique, right? And I'm glad, whenever we do this, every time I meet someone, every time someone gives us this new concept that, okay, this is also happening in the world, right? And the second thing that I really liked about our conversation today is the fact that, when you said that if you want to breach the boundaries, you got to do research, right? Because this is the only field you can breach the boundary. Otherwise, everywhere you are within the boundaries, you are within your limits, right? So I really enjoyed it. I think this is also going to be something that I'm going to, I'll take this, I'll reference you, but
Thank you so much.
I'm going to tell some of my kids as well, right? Some of the students who are working with us, that listen, this is how this field works, and this is how research is important. But yeah, no, thank you for your time, really appreciate it, and
Thank you so much
I really
for having
enjoyed
me.
talking to you. Yeah.
So every time when we do this, we ask our speaker to speak in native language.
Hmm.
So for you, it will be Bengali. So do you have any message in Bengali about science research, whatever? A few line, not much. Uh,
তো আমরা বাঙালিরা অলওয়েজই রিসার্চকে খুব পছন্দ করি। তো আমার মনে হয় যে রিসার্চ, আমরা মানে রিসার্চ এমন একটা জিনিস যেটা আপনাকে ভিতর থেকে খুব খুশি করতে পারে, আর এমন কিছু করতে পারে যেটা আপনি কোনোদিন আগে ফিল করেননি। এজন্য কিপ ইট আপ এন্ড ভালো থাকবেন সবাই। থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ।
yeah, I think we got it. I think we got it. Thank you so much for
Thank
yeah,
you so
no.
much for having me, Abhilash and
Thank you
Mrityunjay.
so much.
It was
Yeah,
lovely talking to you
yeah, it
guys.
was amazing, and we are near our time,
And
so that's
you
really
guys
good.
are welcome to India in my lab.
Oh,
And
Okay,
wonderful.
100%,
please
100%,
please
100%.
do visit. Thank you
Yeah,
so
Absolutely.
much.
so for our audiences who are who gonna watch everything, we'll put this in LinkedIn. We'll share our WhatsApp, Facebook, and also we are gonna put all Dr. Gaurav Majumdar's papers and links to his profile in the comments, either in the LinkedIn and also on the YouTube. So please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.